Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be the start of the comprehensive guide to support, because I cannot for the life of me get solo lane for some reason. But that's okay. I need to do a comprehensive guide for all of these anyways, and I'm also going to change the scope of the comprehensive guides. I'm going to talk about everyone who is going to be effective in a role, as well as the role itself. So, I'll circle back around. I'll do support solo whenever I can support. Now, this episode, in light of the new wave, I can't speak today. In light of the new um, goal for the comprehensive guides, talking about the individual characters as well, this episode will not only be about the support role in general, but also my favorite support, Khepri. Now, Khepri is very interesting, where he heavily rewards building HP, because his passive gives an HP a bonus health shield basically to all allies around him as well as himself. So if you ever are on a team with Khepri, fun fact, try and work a little more health into your build than you normally would, because it'll actually reward you with like an extra like 10% or so, I can't quite remember the percentage, bonus health shield. Now, support is a very difficult role, because you're relying on your allies very much to be basically picking up what you're laying down. It is also one of two what I call shot caller roles, or primary shot caller roles. This is because one of the jobs of the support role is to initiate the fights. As a result, they are one of the groups here, they are one of the two uh, roles that has to decide when to attack and who, right? So the only other role that primarily does this is jungler. When they're calling ganks, they tend to fall into a shot caller role as well, and for similar reasons. And then that kind of persists into the late game, where if they see an opportunity to take out a damage dealer, they'll call an attack. So support and jungle are the two shot caller roles. Solo is kind of a secondary shot caller, because it's generally looking to support one of the two roles there. Mid and ADC shouldn't really be calling shots unless they have a lot of experience and they know what makes for a good call. And even then, generally speaking, that's only if their support or jungler or solo laner are way more inexperienced. With that out of the way, you also are tanking damage and trying to keep your allies alive, so sometimes you'll be looking to prioritize the enemy supports if they're looking to lock down your damage dealers. And there's a common misconception amongst on the perception of the support role, that you should never target the enemy tanks. This isn't quite true. If the enemy tanks are looking to cut off your damage dealers or otherwise interfere with your damage dealer's ability to deal their damage, you would want to do something about that. You will have to step in and stop the enemy supports. That's when you go after those. Generally speaking, you don't want to, though. It's a good rule of thumb, but don't take it religiously, because there are going to be moments where you are going to want to go after the enemy tank, especially early game when they're nice and weak. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab him here. That's not going to kill him, but it's going to put him very far behind. So what I was trying to do there was just weaken down the Ravan, who is clearly their tank, weaken him down enough to get him to back off a little bit there. And then we can actually... I was too late on that. I was way too slow there. Oh, you really went all over me with that, huh? Alright, that's fine. So, another thing that you also have to keep in mind when playing support, just as this is basically absolutely religious. Take this religiously, please. Increase the more utility skills, not the most damaging skills. For me, my first increase... The ability you're going to see me increase the most with Khepri, and this is going to be true of pretty much any Khepri situation, is going to be the Rising Dawn ability, my second ability. This is because this actually increases the defense of allies it hits and decreases the defense of enemies it hits, specifically the enemy's physical protections. That is extremely specifically what it's doing. So it's incredibly potent, not only for changing around the defenses of allies and enemies, but as you just noticed there, I can continuously poke Ravan and pull minion aggro with it as well, which is incredibly useful for those moments when I want that done. When I actually want to be pulling that minion aggro, I can do that very easily using Ravan, who is right up here in my face pretty often. So it's very useful for that as well. The second ability you're going to see me increase is Abduct, because it actually increases my protections and the duration, well, my protections during the hug, and also increases the duration of the hug itself. Both very useful things. The root is the last thing, interestingly enough, that I will be increasing, because that only increases the root duration, rather than all these other nifty bonuses that the other two abilities are providing me at the same time. We really should be going for this first, my guy. So that's really why I'm going to be leveling up what I'll be leveling up. Khepri is also extremely unusual in that his ult is pure support. You use it on an ally, they get an increase in movement speed, and they get revived if they die. We're going to have to take this a little bit slow here. I'm out of mana. I'm going to use this for the assist here. There we go, get a little damage on those minions. We're going to save up our mana for a nice Rising. That is Rising Dawn, right? Yeah, Rising Dawn. Because unfortunately, Scotty has slightly better wave clear than my boy Chiron. Chiron does, because she's got the Doge. So she has a bit of an advantage there in terms of wave clear. But she's also very vulnerable to this. She's vulnerable to pretty much everything I do as Khepri, actually. Now we're going to back up a little bit. We're only backing up because I don't have the mana to do anything with. And Chiron didn't exactly have a lot to deal with either. There we go. Pull that aggro. Get us the advantage in terms of minions that we need. Keep on going with this. I don't know what this random minion's doing. Grab my boy here. Oh, okay, that's going to be me dead. That's not too problematic. She called that. Oh, wait, is Denzabutter there? Yeah, he's their jungler. Alright, that's a little weird, but fair enough. More power to you. Grab some wards and grab a single healing potion. It does look like that my death was not in vain. Tsukiyomi was really able to pick up a lot of enemies there. It was a trade of 2 for 1, so that's really nice. Not only did he take out the enemy support of Ravan, which is very important to me, to keep me basically level with him, behold. But he also took out Danzabutter, which is going to give Tsukiyomi a nice advantage as well. Now, Chiron just cleared that. I'm actually going to help. I don't need to be here anymore. At this particular point, Chiron is probably far enough ahead of Scotty, thanks to that he really isn't going to need me anymore. I'm going to help Nuwa here in mid, who is also, seems like she's ahead of Poseidon here. Yeah, she's pretty far ahead of him. That's pretty nice. So she can actually spare the experience. This is the actual hardest part of playing a support, is deciding who can you safely pull experience from, because when you are in a lane, you are splitting golden experience with whoever's in that lane normally. If your ally in that lane is behind in golden experience, you're hurting them. Okay? I want you to... This is something that I never hear anyone talk about, really. It's only really discussed after the fact. But if your ally in a lane is behind on gold or experience or both, you being in that lane is an incredibly bad thing for them. Just incredibly bad. Don't be in that lane if they're having a hard time being where they need to be. Okay? Fly. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. Now, I ulted her there more to cleanse the whirlpool. I actually didn't want her to die there, because if she died there, she would have come back to me. And I was not in a position where she was going to be able to survive that if she had teleported back to me. She was going to die just right afterwards. So I didn't want that. But my ult does cleanse the target of any crowd control they're under, which at that time was the whirlpool. So she was going to be able to speed out of there with the increased movement speed and therefore survive. That was the goal, and that is exactly how it went down, which is exactly what I wanted to have happen. We're going to probably get him here. Yes, exactly. Exactly what you want to see there. Absolutely fantastic. I am now out of mana. I'm going to tank the damage camp for her, but I'm going to have to go back afterwards because I don't have the mana to do anything else useful. I just don't want her to take any damage so that way she can return to the mid lane without any kind of issue and just be able to... Do I have enough mana to do something with Poseidon here? No, he's going to fall back immediately. That's fine. We're just going to throw that down. We're going to throw down a ward here. Is she going for the... Is Poseidon going for the experience camp? He is. No, we're not going to chase that. We're not going to chase that. That's a bad chase. Nuwa, please. Nuwa, please. Nuwa, please. Oh, my goodness. Alright, that worked out much better than I was expecting it to, but sure. You want to tango, Ravan? You don't have the health for this. Get out of here. Increase abduct. Alright. He beats me? Okay. Oh, there's Tsukiyomi. I don't want to steal the kill. I have to do... Nope. Alright. We're just gonna... They might have both survived, but we can take this tower, which is actually better. I can go back at this point. She's got her minions. Now, at this particular point, I'm going to go for Gauntlet of Thieves for extra protections, extra aura for my allies. I went with Sovereignty first because I have 3 physicals. That was going to do me more good in the short run. That is very specifically why I grabbed that. After I grab Gauntlet of Thieves, I'm going to have to start really examining what my team needs. Now, at this particular point, what is Ravan going for? He's going for abilities. He's also going to grab Shogun's Kusari as well. Okay. I'm going to probably go for Genji's Guard for the cooldowns. I could build Shogun's Kusari. It wouldn't really matter that much. Let's, oh, wow, everyone came over here. Why did everyone come over here? I'm not concerned I'm not going to die or anything like that, but... Wait, this is an opportunity. We can 100% kill her. No, okay, she beads, and here's Stanzabaru behind. We still can win this fight. This isn't, like, a serious problem here. How did that not? What? Alright. Sure, I guess. That should have hit him, but okay. Okay. Alright. She really doesn't need to be here taking that damage. It's percentage of health. Okay. Okay. We're just gonna leave. We're out of here. I don't want anything to do with that. Chiron is 2 levels ahead of Scotty. Nuwa is 1 level ahead of Poseidon. We're gonna go ahead and stick in the middle lane, though, because Ravan's here as well. Go ahead. Make my day, punk. Nice. Did you finally start building magic protections? No. You just started building your stacks. Hi. How you doing? Okay, I am now out of mana, which is not great. Where is she? There she is. Where is she? Damn it, I couldn't find her. There's too much going on. Gonna just have to back up here. Well, I can probably help with the minion wave here. Pull that minion aggro. I actually really need to be going back to grab Gauntlet of Thebes, so I can start building those stacks. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and increase my ult so that way people get revived with more HP. And now what I'm going to want to do here is magic protections. We're going to go with, like I said, Genji's Guard here for those delicious high magic protections. We're going to get some cooldown. We're going to get some MP5, and you'll probably have noticed that I've been having a really hard time with my MP5. By the way, with the percentage of fortitude, it's 2% of max health. Still not bad amount. I don't know why I said 10%. Okay, we grab this. Oh, they went left. That's fine, I guess. Alright. Is that a solo lane Cthulhu? It is. Interesting. I know. They came out of absolutely... That was a really interesting rotation. I was kind of expecting him to die for that, and then be revived to me, but that did not happen at all. I don't know why I came over here for that. Is he still... I don't know where Banzabutter went. Why am I being targeted? What is this? Honestly, though, they really don't need me here too much. I am going to throw this down so that way I can eliminate that wave, bolster the defenses of these minions here, the ones currently tanking it. Get rid of this. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and throw one more Rising Dawn down lane. And then I'm going to rotate back to mid. Going to go ahead and throw a ward here, and I'm going to go ahead and throw another aggressive ward here. As a support, you should be warding a lot. You should be warding as often as possible. We can probably kill him. Oh, he's already dead. Oh, here comes Scotty, which I'm not too concerned about, honestly. I tried my damnedest to tank that for him, but that did not work out. What is all this? Here, we're going to reduce your protections. We're going to lock you down. I accidentally got that kill, but that's not a huge deal. It's not a problem. We saved Nuwa. We got some kills going on here. Alright, now I'm going to... If I could just... There we go. There he is. There he is. Rooted. Oh, no, he got out, but that's fine. It made him use his beads, which is all they really wanted at the very minimum. Yeah, I can attack the Gold Fury. I don't need mana to attack the Gold Fury. Alright, I've reduced the Gold Fury's protections. Again, I don't... that's the nice thing about being a Guardian, is if you're trying to do this with the tanking of a jungle camp or whatever, you don't need mana for this. You just need the health. Which I absolutely had. Alright, now that we've got that, I don't have the mana to do anything else useful, so we're just going to go ahead and go back. We're going to grab this. We're going to go ahead and grab Blink, which is absolutely one of my favorite things to buy on Khepri. Because a Blink Abduct combo surprises a lot of people. Let me just see. It looks like we might need to rotate left because Ravan's in a fight, and it looks like potentially Poseidon's going to be over there. No, Poseidon's right here. Never mind. He doesn't care. Oh, now he's heading left. Okay. We're going to need to move over there. No, he decided to not go over there. Interesting. They're just all in the jungle. No idea what happened to the voice volume here. No, you don't. We're just gonna... Okay. Well, it's Tanky's Ravan over here. What is this? What do you think you're doing, punk? Get out of here. You think you're strong enough? Furby breath? Bring it on. Well, we won that fight handily. I made him nervous. Nuwa backed off, otherwise I would have gone in. If Nuwa had followed her minions into that, I absolutely would have gone in for that. Hi. Guess who? I didn't even need to do much more than decrease his protections. I completely whiffed that. That was horrific. Now, something else I actually want to talk about really quick is Khepri is a bit of a high-risk guardian. Because if you abduct at the wrong time or you abduct the wrong person, you're going to take a lot of free damage. Because while you're abducting someone, there is absolutely nothing else you're doing at that moment. And that, since you back up very slowly, that makes you an absolute sitting duck. I just whiffed again. It's always on Ravan that I'm whiffing this. That makes you an absolute sitting duck for literally anyone who wants to attack you at that particular instant. So you have to be very careful with abduct. And it's, even though I'm using Khepri as my opener to the comprehensive guide, I don't recommend you start with Khepri, as supportive as he is, because he is a bit trickier to use. Just buddy block your escape out of here. It's fine, don't worry about it. I'm just trying to lock him down right now. That's all I'm trying to do. Keep him. There we go. There we go. You know, I died to the tower. They got nothing for it. That's fine. So now we're going to finish our Genji's Guard, and then we're going to build my absolute most favorite physical protection item. Breastplate of Valor, 20% cooldowns, some physical protections. It's a really glorious thing. I'm probably going to grab the Winged Blade as my final... Winged Blade? Or... Yeah, between Ravan's Prana Onslaught, the Ice from Scotty, and the Whirlpool from Poseidon, probably Winged Blade would be my best option, to be honest. I was thinking briefly of the other one there, Magi's Cloak, I think it's called. Is that what it's called? Magi's Cloak, yeah. I was thinking of that briefly, but there's so much hard CC on their team that I don't think it would really save me from the Whirlpool, and I think walking out of there under the influence of Winged Blade would be a little bit more effective for my own ability to abduct who I need to abduct when I need to abduct them. Ravan is not building supportive enough. I'm gonna talk about his build. He's, for a support Ravan, he's doing it. You can play support Ravan, don't get me wrong, but he's doing it completely wrong, and I'm going to go into pretty in-depth detail why, because he's actually a great example of what not to do as a support. No offense to the player at all, but they're definitely trying to be too aggro with this, and that's really not how support as a role works. That would be a great solo lane build. It is not a support build. Oh, right. We are not interested. I just have Nuwa here. They have 3 people here who can lock her down easily enough that that's going to be a problem. I'm just not interested, thank you. We're just going to let that one go, thank you very much. Okay, so let's figure out what's going on over here. Yep, alright. There's everyone and their brother over here. We're going to lock you down, actually, really quick. We're going to actually... Okay, Nuwa, where are we going? Nuwa, what are we doing? Are we retreating? It's not like they... Okay, they're coming over to the right. We need to go over there. A lot of your job is also to anticipate where the enemy is going to be and trying to head him off at the pass there. I'm going to trust Tsukiyomi. Best case scenario, he distracts them. Worst case scenario, he dies for the Gold Fury. Nope. Okay, we got it. I whiffed literally everything, but I didn't whiff that. Alright, we're just going to make sure that Poseidon dies here. There he goes. Alright, now we have... Where is... Okay, Danzabaru is being chased. That's fine. Can we get over here and make that happen? Yes, we can. Okay, he's dead. Who is this? Who have I grabbed? That's Ravan? I think? I can't tell. Yes, it's Ravan. Okay. There's too much going on here. Can we... Oh, nice play. We can get in here, and we can... Damn it, no. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. This is the tankiest Ravan on the planet here. We're fine here. That's fine. You have this tower. Are we taking this, or no? What are we doing with this? Chiron. Chiron? You alright, guy? Okay, that was odd. He could have taken right tower while Nuwa was taking middle, but I'm sorry, right Phoenix. Well, can we get... What are we doing here? Are we attacking or no? I really don't think we should attack. We probably should actually leave. I'm going to call this... I'm going to leverage my executive power as a support and tell everyone to get the hell out of Dodge. That's A bit risky, but okay. I'm not sure why it would stop for the Scorpion of all things, but sure. There's Ravan. I can always res him if he needs. But quite frankly, at my level of health, I really should be tanking this. I'll just keep an eye on him and see what happens here. I'm leaving my Abduct up in case I need to stop an enemy from using abilities on this. Just trying to keep an eye on. We're just going to go ahead and use that there. I want to make sure he doesn't die. There we go. He still almost died. But we got it. We got it. Alright. Now, I'm still healthy as all get out for some reason. The enemy has not been building penetration. Why am I should not be this healthy after that long of a sustained fight. I know Ravan tanked the Phoenix in the Fire Giant. You've got no pen. You've got no pen. You just got some pen, and you die in 2 seconds. That's probably why. Alright, that's fair enough, I guess. I'm gonna grab Breastplate of Determination here, and I want Winged Blade. Okay, so Ravan is pushing left, and the reason why Ravan is pushing left right now is because of that catapult. Just to reiterate, in case you didn't catch that earlier, I'm building Winged Blades specifically because of all the slows they have, and I want to be able to catch up to them and abduct people when I need to. Alright, I'm going to go help Ravan because I think he's the one who's going to need the most help. Yeah, he's got, I think, going to be 3 over here. Danzabuto, Ravan. Yeah. I think I made the correct choice. Good. Alright, that's fine. And Tsukiyomi is able to come over here because obviously he was done killing whoever that was in mid. We're going to tank this. There it is. Come here. I'm just going to drag him over the spikes. There we go. Now, you may be wondering why I'm still tanking this despite having minions here. That way I can heal myself like that. And the minions can take over after the fact. I have a lot of cooldown reduction. I have like 30%, I think. Yeah. So I'm not too concerned about my ult being down for too long. It's already got only a minute left. We're going to go ahead and increase the protections of the minions. We're going to decrease the enemy minion protections. This should work out really well for us. Our teammates are dying under the... They're stinking taking the... Okay, we're already about to win here for somehow. I'm just going to tank this. I didn't even realize we were that close to winning. Alright, so... There was a lot going on there. I'll be talking more about the role in general. But, again, you'll notice that a lot of my items increased health. Actually, the only one that didn't is Breastplate of Valor. And that's because the 20% cooldown on that item, plus the amount of physical protections it brings to the party, is just so powerful that it's... I frequently purchase that against any enemy team comp that has predominantly physical. Now, just to reiterate as well, just kind of a brief recap here. You have to be careful with Khepri. Yes, he is one of the tankiest Guardians because of his passive giving him a bonus health shield. 2% of your max health doesn't sound like a lot until you realize that Khepri frequently totes around 3k plus. Let me just show you. I wasn't even at max level. I was only level 17. Okay, I didn't have a full build. And I still had over 3,000 health. Alright? I was rocking, with very little trouble, a whole entire 60 extra health shield. Which, again, doesn't sound like a whole lot. But you also have to remember that it stacks a couple of times. I think 3 times. So, you've got that. I, again, didn't even have the most health I could have had, because I still had an increased Winged Blade, which gives me, I think, 300 health. I had an increased Sentinel's Gift, which I think ends up with either 150 or 200 health. I can't remember. Khepri is incredibly potent. But if you abduct the wrong person, particularly... well, I won't even say if you abduct the wrong person. If you abduct the wrong person in the early to mid-game, you're going to have a rough time, because you're going to just be a sitting duck and die. In the late game, when you have your protections, this is less of a concern. You also have to be very careful in abducting enemies that have an auto attack focus, because they're just going to auto attack you, and if they have executioner, if they have chin size, if they have domination, they're going to really tear through your health while you're abducting them. So you have to be very careful with typically hunters when you abduct them. Certain assassins as well tend to be potentially problematic to abduct. One or two warriors, it really depends on how the warrior builds. Most warriors build towards abilities, but just keep an eye on them. Like Erlong Shen, obviously, could potentially be a problem. Bellona, if she's building towards attack speed, she's very dangerous to abduct. If she's going towards abilities, don't even worry about it. But you do have to be very careful with that. Also, you have to really... it can take some getting into remembering, but Rising Dawn is just as effective for increasing your allies' defenses as it is for decreasing the enemies. So if you're not doing anything, or you're too far away from the enemy to decrease their defense, don't be afraid of just using your Rising Dawn to increase the defenses of your allies, especially if your solo laner is tanking either a Phoenix or a jungle camp. You can absolutely use Rising Dawn on them like I did with the Fire Giant. You'll notice that I hit both Ravan and the Fire Giant with a Rising Dawn. That was not accidental. I didn't mention it at the time because I was talking about trying to keep him alive and what I was thinking during that process. That way you would know what I was, where my mind was at. But I did deliberately hit him with that Rising Dawn so that way he would take less damage from the Fire Giant. So you do have to just kind of really be aware of these kinds of things. For playing support, it's the nuances of your abilities more than the actual damage. For most roles, the damage is probably more important and the primary effect of a lot of these abilities. For the Guardians, the devil is in the details, absolutely. But Khepri is very, very useful. If you're feeling particularly bold, or if this episode really showed you enough to for where you want to go in and play a nice Khepri support, go for it. But just be very careful with who you abduct, because that's really going to be the fail point for you. And the reason why I don't recommend you start with Khepri as a result of abduct is because it takes a little bit of practice in the role to understand, okay, I can survive this person. I can survive an abduction, abducting this person. That's fine. That's not going to be an issue. That takes a little bit of practice figuring out how you kind of get a feel for how far protections are going to take you against a hunter and things like that. So I do recommend him as a second one or something like that, but he is one of my favorite Guardians, and you can very easily see why. He absolutely is dominating as a support. He's got a lot of unique effects that he can bring to a team fight, that he can bring to a camp clear, a jungle camp clear. He's abnormally useful in that as well. His health shield, even though it's only 60-ish HP a pop for him, and probably about, I would say, roughly 20-ish, well, actually, I would say probably 30 to 40-ish for everyone else on your team, that can add up. That's your allies not taking any damage from a Bluestone Pendant, for instance. Because that does 20 damage over time, and that's not enough to kill a Khepri health shield, right? Things like that. You'd be surprised how much of a difference that health shield can make in the course of a team fight, in the course of killing a jungle boss. Very useful. Now, I also want to use the enemy Ravan here, who is the support, as a prime example of what not to build, what not to do as a support. Now, again, just to reiterate one more time, Ravan can play an extremely powerful support. I've done it before. Ravan is actually one of my favorite assassins to use in the support role in those instances where I feel like playing an assassin in the support role, which occasionally happens. However, this particular player made a lot of build errors in this. Now, by itself, going Benevolence isn't necessarily a problem, normally. The real issue here is that you're sacrificing a more useful starter item for Vaughn. All right. Now, the idea of this would have been the idea of going into benevolence is either to go into compassion or animosity. Compassion, if you're really looking for that magic protections, which hopefully they weren't thinking of against our team comp because it was just Noir and I for magic damage. Compassion really wasn't going to be that necessary here. Or animosity for damage, which, based on the rest of this Ravan's build, I'm going to assume that they were going to go for the animosity for the damage for their auto attacks. I'm going to both criticize this build under the assumption they were going for animosity, and also under the assumption that they could have gone with something else a little bit more effective. But with this team comp, with Scotty, with Poseidon, with Danzabaru particularly, a far more effective starter item for his team comp would have been the War Flag. Increasing the movement speed and the attack speed of nearby allies would have been huge for team fights for a number of different reasons. The attack speed is fairly self-explanatory. Scotty, Poseidon, and Danzabaru can all use that attack speed to their advantage. That goes without saying. That's pretty much assumed. But the movement speed is incredibly important to all three as well, because none of them have a proper escape. Scotty can boost her move speed by running over her ice patch. Add on the movement speed from the War Flag, and she's zipping out of there at speeds high enough where her not having an escape isn't really going to make that big of a difference most of the time. I would be the only way to keep her locked in a fight, besides potentially Ravan if he has 10-hand Shadow Fist up. Exact same thing for Poseidon and Danzabaru. Both have ways of increasing their move speed, which if you add on the War Flag move speed boost, they can really zip around either in or out of a fight very easily. So I think it would have been way more effective for this Ravan to pick up War Flag as a starter item. It would have healed them as well. It would have given them HP and mana back. It would have been absolutely fantastic. It would have been really dominating, to be honest with you. So the fact that he went with Benevolence is just really unfortunate. It was a huge opportunity thrown completely away. Now, I actually have zero issue with Gauntlet of Thebes. This is obviously a correct move to make here. This is fine. I went with Sovereignty first in a similar situation. They had 3 physical on their team. We had 3 physical on our team. I went with Sovereignty. You can see early game how that really paid off. Although Gauntlet of Thebes being a second item here, absolutely correct choice. That's fine. Whether you were going for Animosity or you were going for or you had War Flag, wouldn't matter. The Gauntlet of Thebes is a fine pick here. Then, for some unholy reason, went with Soul Eater. Now, Soul Eater is great on Ravan if you're building pretty consistent damage, which Ravan wasn't doing. Ravan was support. Alright, your abilities heal you for 25% of the damage dealt to targets. This is amazing. If your abilities are doing damage, this is a support Ravan. He's never going to hit hard enough for Soul Eater to heal him sufficiently for this to matter. It's just not going to work. Okay? This was a huge error on Ravan's part. Not only do you not need the damage or the penetration as a support because your job is not to get kills, that is not what you're supposed to be doing, but you're not even going to be doing enough damage to make the heal worth it. So this is wrong on 2 completely different levels. Then we have Glad Shield. This is okay. It's a little more damagey than I prefer when playing support, but I can absolutely see this being useful. It does give you a couple of really nice stats for a support. It gives you cooldown, it gives you some health. That is very nice. It gives you some physical protections. There are better items to get physical protections from, but I can understand to some extent why this was built. Especially since Ravan was behind at that point, so maybe this was an attempt to maybe grab a kill or 2, catch back up. Maybe. I can definitely understand it from that perspective as well. I've done that a couple of times. Not specifically with Ravan, but with actual Guardians. I've done something very similar, but I used what is that book called? I can't remember the book. It does percentage of health damage on abilities. I've used that with a couple of Guardians to catch back up to where I'm supposed to be. Which is a similar idea in principle, just a bit more damaging. I'll talk about that when I get to them. Khepri is not one of the ones I do this with. But I can understand why this was built in this context. and then we build Pestilence. I don't really know why this was built. Okay, you might look at our team comp and say, well, Nuwa has Soul Gem, Chiron has that passive heal, Tsukuyomi has Blood Forge and Serrated Edge, Ravan has 10-hand Shadow Fist. All of these are really, really weak heals. Alright, this happens every 4 abilities, and Nuwa sometimes gets 4 abilities in one fight, sometimes she doesn't. It really depends on how the enemy team is formed up. It depends on how many enemies she hits with her gem. It depends on how many enemies run into her fog. This is a guaranteed trigger on her ult, but that's about the extent of it. That's fine. That's probably the most powerful heal we had on the team. Chiron's passive is very weak. It's notoriously very low heal. Still very nice for sustain reasons, but it's not going to heal you enough in the middle of a fight to really be a concern. Same thing with Tsukuyomi's lifesteal here. Yes, he seems to have a lot of lifesteal on the surface, but then you remember that these are only auto attack heals, and Tsukuyomi already can self-heal using his passive, which is some justification for Pestilence, to be fair, but Cthulhu also had Pestilence, so you're running a bit of a risk there with that, and you two being the only ones with anti-heal and having the same anti-heal on top of that might have meant Brawler's Beatstick in a rare situation might have been better even as a support Ravan than anything else. Actually, Brawler's Beatstick probably would have been a better choice than Soul Eater. I'm just throwing that out there. And Ravan, of course, 10-hand Shadow Fist doesn't heal a ton. Yes, he had Soul Eater, but he was also going to suffer from the same problem as the enemy Ravan. He wasn't exactly building a lot of damage here, so he wasn't going to be healing that much from it. So I think that the Pestilence was maybe a little bit overkill here. This would have been better off as Shogun's Gusari or even better Talisman of Energy for very similar reasons that Warflag would have been useful. Increased move and attack speed for Poseidon, Skadi, and Danzabaru. But those are the mistakes of Ravan here. So I'm pretty happy with this. This was a really great episode to not only demonstrate to you the kind of thought process that goes into this and some nice tips on Khepri, but also a great example of how not to build. Now, again, I just want to cover, Soul Eater isn't a bad item on Ravan under normal circumstances, but he was not building the level of damage to justify this. Even with his increased protections, decreasing the amount of damage he's taking, he's never going to heal enough from Soul Eater to counterbalance that and really survive in the long term. It just isn't going to happen. So, that being said, thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.